What if I told you that the key to unlocking your potential is not found in the books you read, the seminars you attend, or the success stories you hear, but in the words you tell yourself every single day? Now, imagine if you could reprogram your mind to think in a way that guarantees progress, growth, and success. It all starts with a simple yet powerful set of thoughts. The way you talk to yourself can either propel you forward or keep you stuck. But here's the truth. You have the power to change your destiny by choosing the right words every single day. So let me share with you the 10 things you must tell yourself daily. These aren't just affirmations, they are scientifically backed principles that can reshape the way your brain works. Start telling yourself these, and watch how your mindset shifts, your actions align, and your results transform. First, I am capable of handling whatever comes my way. This isn't just a wishful thought. When you tell yourself this, you are signaling to your brain that you are in control, that challenges are temporary and solvable. Your brain then releases dopamine, enhancing your motivation to face obstacles head-on. You shift from fear and avoidance to problem-solving and resilience. Second, I am constantly growing and improving. Growth isn't linear, and the moment you accept that it's a continual process, your brain shifts from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. This reframe opens up neuroplasticity, which means your brain can adapt, learn, and evolve, no matter how old you are or how much experience you've had. Growth happens every day, but it begins with the belief that it is happening. Third, I have the power to control my thoughts and emotions. Understanding that your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your actions, is key. When you tell yourself this, you're reinforcing your ability to maintain emotional regulation. By doing this consistently, you give yourself the power to choose how to respond in any given situation, and in doing so, you regain control over your life. Fourth, today I will take action, no matter how small. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every small action, no matter how insignificant it may seem, triggers positive momentum. Your brain begins to see that even the smallest steps towards your goals matter, and it rewards you with a sense of accomplishment. This feeling fuels your drive to take even more action, no matter the size. Fifth, I will focus on what I can control and let go of what I cannot. This one is key to mental well-being. Stress often comes from trying to control things beyond our reach. When you tell yourself this, you release unnecessary anxiety and regain clarity. It is only when you focus on your controllables, your efforts, your mindset, and your actions, that you can truly create lasting change. Sixth, I am worthy of success and happiness. Many people struggle with feelings of unworthiness. They think success is something they have to earn beyond their capabilities, or that happiness is reserved for others. Telling yourself this shifts your self-image, helping you to believe that you are deserving of good things. This change in perception will create a powerful internal drive to take steps that align with your worthiness. Seventh, I will learn from my mistakes, not dwell on them. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a crucial part of it. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to learn. When you tell yourself this, your brain becomes wired to look for lessons in every setback, rather than focusing on self-blame. It helps you fail forward, and with each lesson learned, you inch closer to your goals. Eighth, I have a unique contribution to make in this world. Everyone has something special to offer. By telling yourself this, you acknowledge your individuality and remind yourself that you are part of something greater than just yourself. This thought helps you tap into your intrinsic purpose and feel more connected to the work you're doing, which in turn boosts motivation and creativity. Ninth, I will stay present in the moment. Most of us spend too much time in the past or the future. We worry about things we can't change, or we are anxious about what's coming next. The only moment you have is now. When you tell yourself this, your brain becomes more attuned to the present moment, helping you make better decisions and take more effective actions in real time. And finally, I trust the process and have patience. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, patience is a rare virtue. Success, true success, takes time. Telling yourself this helps you cultivate the resilience to keep going, even when the results aren't immediate. It reminds you that every step, no matter how slow, is progress, and that the process is just as important as the outcome. Each of these thoughts is more than just a positive affirmation. They are scientifically proven principles that trigger specific neural pathways in your brain. They condition your mind for success, teach you to embrace challenges, and train you to take action consistently. If you start telling yourself these things every day, your brain will start to believe them, your actions will reflect them, and your results will follow. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment, or for someone else to give you permission to succeed. The only permission you need is from yourself. What if I told you that the way you approach challenges, the way you perceive adversity, can completely alter the trajectory of your life? You see, when you tell yourself, I am capable of handling whatever comes my way, you're not just reciting words. You're actively engaging in a process that rewires your brain to prepare for and face challenges with confidence. This is not wishful thinking, it's grounded in neuroscience. When you affirm your capability, your brain activates areas involved in resilience, problem solving, and stress management. Essentially, you are priming your nervous system for success in the face of adversity. The moment you face an obstacle, instead of shrinking away or succumbing to fear, your mind begins to scan for solutions. You start looking for the next move, rather than getting lost in the overwhelm of the situation. This simple shift, telling yourself that you are capable, releases key neurochemicals like dopamine, which not only fuels motivation, but enhances your focus and ability to think clearly under pressure. By telling yourself this, you don't just condition your mind to face the current problem, but you also prepare your brain to grow from the experience. You essentially program yourself to see challenges as opportunities for learning, growth, and mastery. Think about this: every challenge you face, no matter how big or small, becomes a stepping stone. Your brain starts to see difficulty as something you are equipped to handle, not as something that will overwhelm or defeat you. The more you affirm your capability, the more resilient and resourceful you become. It shifts your mental landscape from a place of fear and avoidance to one of readiness and strength. And this isn't just about facing external challenges, it's about facing the doubts, fears, and insecurities within you. When you take on challenges with the belief that you can handle them, your brain is more likely to adopt a proactive mindset. You start to tap into your resourcefulness, your creativity, and your innate problem-solving skills. Challenges, no matter how difficult, will no longer feel like insurmountable barriers, but rather stepping stones on your path forward. Each hurdle you overcome reinforces this belief, creating a powerful feedback loop that strengthens your resilience and your confidence over time. You know, one of the most powerful beliefs you can adopt is the idea that I am constantly growing and improving. This isn't just a motivational phrase, it is a mindset grounded in the very way your brain functions. Your brain at every moment is capable of neuroplasticity, the ability to change, adapt, and rewire itself. So when you tell yourself you are constantly growing, you are aligning your mind with one of its most fundamental and empowering capabilities. The truth is, growth doesn't happen in perfect, linear increments. It happens through a continuous cycle of challenge, adaptation, and learning. But the key to unlocking this process is the belief that growth is happening all the time, even when it's not immediately visible. And when you repeat this idea to yourself daily, you are essentially priming your brain to spot those moments of growth in even the most mundane experiences. Think about it when you face a difficult situation. Instead of thinking, I'm stuck or I can't do this, you begin to think, this is an opportunity for me to grow. That simple reframing changes everything. It activates your brain's reward system, triggering the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and pleasure. Your brain begins to seek out new ways to tackle problems, new ways to improve, and new ways to expand your skills. You begin to see challenges not as barriers but as stepping stones in your continuous evolution. Here's the real magic: as you consistently reinforce this belief, your brain begins to wire itself for growth in all areas of your life. When you tell yourself that growth is ongoing, you start to approach everything as a learning experience. Each moment becomes an opportunity to expand your abilities, to refine your skills, and to deepen your understanding. You may not notice the immediate effects, but over time this mindset compounds. Small gains lead to larger successes. What might feel like a failure is actually just a learning moment that fuels your next growth spurt. In fact, your brain's ability to adapt and improve is at its peak when you embrace challenges, make mistakes, and continuously strive to improve. So when you tell yourself, I am constantly growing and improving, you're not only setting yourself up for personal progress, you're also activating the biological mechanisms that make growth possible. You are reshaping your brain's default wiring to seek out opportunities for self-improvement and learning, transforming every experience into a chance to become better, stronger, and more capable than before. Imagine if you could take full control of your thoughts and emotions, no matter what life throws your way. When you tell yourself, "I have the power to control my thoughts and emotions," you're tapping into one of the most powerful aspects of human biology, the ability to regulate your mind. Now, this isn't just a feel-good statement, it's grounded in neuroscience. The more you repeat this belief, the more you actually train your brain to enhance your capacity for self-regulation, which is crucial for managing stress, staying focused, and achieving long-term goals. What happens inside your brain when you tell yourself this is profound? The areas responsible for emotional control, the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making, and the amygdala, which is responsible for emotional responses, come into better alignment. Instead of being hijacked by intense emotions like anger, anxiety, or fear, you begin to activate the parts of your brain that help you pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully. This is your brain's executive function in action. It allows you to control impulses and think before you act, making you more strategic and less reactive. The power of controlling your thoughts and emotions is not about suppressing your feelings or ignoring your internal experience. It's about cultivating awareness of your emotions and choosing how to respond to them. For example, when you feel anxious about a presentation or nervous before a big meeting, instead of spiraling into panic, you can tell yourself, "I have the power to control my thoughts right now." This shifts your focus away from the anxiety itself and toward a mindset of agency. Your brain then starts to activate calming mechanisms, balancing out the stress response and allowing you to stay focused and clear. Over time, this practice doesn't just help you in specific situations, it trains your brain to maintain a steady sense of calm and control, even during moments of chaos. The more you remind yourself that you can control your emotions and thoughts, the more you develop a mental buffer that protects you from being overwhelmed by external circumstances. You essentially strengthen your mental resilience, making it easier to navigate stressful events, setbacks, or even moments of self-doubt. By telling yourself that you have this power, you're reinforcing your ability to act with intention rather than reaction. This creates a feedback loop in your brain. Each time you successfully manage your thoughts and emotions, your brain strengthens the neural pathways that support emotional regulation. It becomes easier over time, allowing you to move through life with a greater sense of control, purpose, and mental clarity. The more you repeat this belief, the more you're shaping your mind to be calm, grounded, and capable of handling whatever comes your way. One of the most powerful things you can tell yourself every day is, "Today, I will take action, no matter how small." This isn't just about motivation, it's about how your brain operates when it comes to achieving goals. You see, action is the trigger for everything. Without it, all the plans, all the dreams, and all the strategies you create will remain just that, ideas stuck in your head. But when you tell yourself that no matter what, you will take action, something remarkable happens inside your brain. The first thing to understand is that the brain is wired to reward action. When you take a step toward your goal, no matter how insignificant it seems, your brain releases dopamine. This is the same neurotransmitter that's responsible for feelings of pleasure, motivation, and reward. By taking action, you activate this reward system, which not only makes you feel good but also reinforces the habit of taking more action. The more you act, the more motivated you feel, and this cycle of action and reward builds momentum. It doesn't matter how small the action is. It doesn't have to be the perfect grand gesture. It could be as simple as making a phone call, sending an email, or writing a single sentence toward your goal. What's important is that you've done something, your brain recognizes that action, and it rewards you for it. This is what keeps you moving forward, especially on days when motivation is low, or when you're feeling overwhelmed. And here's where it gets interesting. Your brain doesn't differentiate between big actions and small actions. The neural pathways that get activated when you take a small step are the same as those activated when you take a large leap. The difference is, when you consistently take small actions, you build a mental and physiological feedback loop that primes you for bigger actions. Over time, those small actions compound, and before you know it, you've made massive progress toward your goals. But the key here is the commitment to action, no matter how tiny, because when you take action, any action, you signal to your brain that you're serious, that you're moving forward, and that progress is being made. That sense of forward motion creates a sense of agency, which in turn reduces feelings of helplessness or stagnation. You begin to see that you are in fact making progress, and this realization propels you to keep going. By telling yourself every day that you'll take action, no matter the size, you create a non-negotiable habit. It's no longer about waiting for the perfect time or the perfect conditions. You stop waiting for motivation to strike because you realize that taking action is what generates motivation. Every action, no matter how small, builds the momentum that moves you closer to your goals, and with each step, you're rewiring your brain to pursue consistent forward-moving progress. When you say to yourself, "I will focus on what I can control and let go of what I cannot," you're tapping into one of the most effective strategies for reducing stress and enhancing mental clarity. Here's the thing, our brains are wired to focus on what's in front of us, but often we end up wasting immense amounts of energy and cognitive resources worrying about things we can't change, the future, other people's actions, external circumstances. And this doesn't just drain our energy, it actually activates areas in our brain linked to stress, anxiety, and frustration. By making the conscious decision to focus only on what you can control, you're effectively narrowing your mental focus to what's actionable. This isn't about denying the existence of external stressors, it's about shifting your attention away from the noise and toward the one thing that can create change, your own actions and mindset. When you make this shift, your brain begins to work more efficiently. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, problem-solving, and self-regulation, becomes more engaged. You stop spinning in circles, ruminating on things that are out of your hands, and instead, you channel your focus toward what you can directly influence: your thoughts, your reactions, your work, and the way you approach challenges. This laser focus gives you clarity, and with clarity comes direction. The beauty of this is that it's not just about focusing on the big things, it's about recognizing and embracing the smaller, more immediate actions you can take in any situation. For example, if you're facing a stressful situation at work or in your personal life, instead of spiraling into worry about how others will respond or what might happen in the future, you focus on your own behavior, how you show up, how you communicate, and the steps you take in that moment. And while you're letting go of the things beyond your control, your brain will actually reward you by reducing feelings of helplessness, anxiety, and frustration. Your stress levels lower because you've redirected your focus to things that are within your grasp. The key here is that by focusing on what you can control, you actually take back your power. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your own reality. Each time you do this, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of navigating life's challenges, and this strengthens your mental resilience over time. Now, let's be clear, letting go of what you cannot control doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means making a choice to invest your energy where it will matter most. It's about understanding that some things are outside of your influence, and worrying about them only serves to drain your mental and emotional resources. The more you practice this shift in focus, the more you build mental clarity and the ability to stay grounded, no matter what life throws at you. When you tell yourself, "I am worthy of success and happiness," you're not simply repeating words, you're unlocking a fundamental truth about how your brain and body function. The reality is, many of us struggle with feelings of unworthiness, believing that we need to earn happiness or success through external validation, or by meeting some impossible standard. But here's what you need to understand: your sense of worthiness, or lack thereof, directly impacts the way you approach every area of your life. It influences your actions, your relationships, and how you show up in the world. From a biological perspective, when you feel worthy of success, your brain enters a more positive and resourceful state. The neurotransmitters and hormones involved in stress, like cortisol, decrease, and those involved in motivation and confidence, like dopamine, increase. This shift in neurochemistry gives you the mental clarity and emotional energy to go after your goals. In contrast, when you feel unworthy, your brain is flooded with self-doubt and fear, which puts you into a reactive state. This leads to procrastination, avoidance, and a general lack of momentum. By affirming your worthiness, you are rewiring your brain to believe that success is not only possible for you, but that you deserve it. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement, it's about recognizing your intrinsic value as a human being. When you begin to accept that you are worthy of success, your brain starts to perceive challenges as opportunities, rather than obstacles that you aren't capable of overcoming. Your actions become more aligned with your desires, and you start taking the steps necessary to achieve what you truly want. And here's something critical. This belief in your own worthiness doesn't just improve your motivation. It also directly impacts your behavior and the way others perceive you. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with confidence, who believe they deserve the best. When you believe in your worth, you show up differently in relationships, in work, and in life. You take risks because you trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. You set higher standards for yourself, and you start attracting opportunities that align with your belief in your own value. When you tell yourself that you are worthy of success and happiness, you give your brain permission to break through the barriers of self-doubt. This belief shifts your self-image and activates the systems in your brain responsible for goal setting, decision-making, and self-efficacy. Your brain no longer sees success as something that's outside of your reach. It begins to see it as a natural outcome of your actions. Every time you remind yourself that you are worthy, you reinforce that belief, and in turn you start creating the conditions for success and happiness to manifest in your life. When you tell yourself, "I will learn from my mistakes, not dwell on them," you're making a commitment not just to personal growth, but to a mindset that can transform how you experience failure. And here's why this is so important. In the brain, mistakes and failures can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, failure can trigger feelings of shame, frustration, and discouragement, which activates the brain's stress pathways, particularly the amygdala, the emotional center. But on the other hand, failure is also one of the most powerful tools for learning and growth. The key to unlocking that potential is the decision to shift your focus from the emotional reaction to the lesson that can be extracted. Every time you make a mistake or face a setback, your brain is presented with an opportunity to recalibrate, learn, and improve. But only if you choose to focus on the lesson rather than the failure itself. When you tell yourself that you will learn from your mistakes, you are actively reprogramming your brain's response to failure. Instead of perceiving it as a personal flaw, your brain begins to see it as valuable data, a source of information that can be used to make better decisions moving forward. The act of learning from your mistakes involves the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for higher-order thinking, planning, and problem-solving. This area comes online when you take a step back and reflect on what went wrong, not as a form of self-punishment, but as an exercise in understanding what you can do differently next time. By doing this, you're enhancing your brain's ability to adapt, to adjust strategies, and to make wiser choices in the future. This process is called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change and rewire itself based on experiences. When you dwell on your mistakes, however, the opposite occurs. The more you focus on your failures as a reflection of your abilities, the more you activate negative emotional circuits in your brain, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. This leads to a cycle of learned helplessness, where you start to believe that you aren't capable of improvement or that failure defines your abilities. But when you choose to learn from your mistakes, you build resilience. Each failure becomes a stepping stone toward your success, and your brain starts to shift from a fixed mindset where your abilities are seen as static to a growth mindset where every setback is viewed as an opportunity to evolve. This mindset primes you for continuous improvement because you start to see that mistakes aren't a reflection of your limitations. They're a sign that you're pushing boundaries, taking risks, and expanding your skill set. What's even more powerful is that each time you learn from a mistake, you activate the reward system in your brain, particularly the release of dopamine. This reinforces the behavior of learning from failure, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens your resilience and determination. The more you practice this, the more you build mental toughness, the ability to bounce back from setbacks with a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. The act of learning from your mistakes becomes a habit, and as you continue to reinforce it, you gain more confidence in your ability to handle challenges and grow from them. So when you tell yourself that you will learn from your mistakes, not dwell on them, you're making a powerful decision to empower yourself. You're shifting your perspective from failure as a negative experience to failure as a necessary part of your evolution. This mindset will propel you forward, not just through your current challenges, but through any obstacle that lies ahead. Every time you embrace this belief, you strengthen your ability to adapt, learn, and ultimately succeed. When you tell yourself, "I have a unique contribution to make in this world," you are tapping into one of the most powerful driving forces for motivation and purpose. It's easy to get lost in the noise of external expectations or to compare ourselves to others, feeling as though our individual contributions don't matter. But the truth is, Your uniqueness, the combination of your experiences, your skills, and your perspective, is exactly what the world needs. And when you internalize this belief, when you genuinely accept that you have something special to offer, you activate a deeply motivating force within you. Your brain's reward system, particularly the areas linked to motivation and achievement, lights up when you recognize and affirm your own value. This is not just about boosting your ego or inflating your sense of self-worth. It's about understanding that your perspective is something the world has never seen before, and that perspective is valuable. When you remind yourself of this, you stop seeking validation from outside sources and instead start trusting your own voice and your own worth. From a neuroscience standpoint, when you believe you have something unique to offer, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center that drives decision-making, goal-setting, and creativity. This part of your brain thrives on challenge, innovation, and the pursuit of meaning. When you recognize your ability to contribute in a meaningful way, you align your actions with that purpose, making it easier to take bold steps, make decisions, and persist even when things get difficult. Your belief in your unique contribution becomes a guiding compass, pushing you toward opportunities and actions that align with your true potential. Moreover, this belief shapes how you perceive the world around you. It creates a sense of possibility and drives you to take risks because you trust that your contribution, your work, your ideas, your skills matters. This belief also shifts your approach to failure. When you see yourself as someone with a unique contribution, setbacks are no longer personal or debilitating, they are simply part of the process. You understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to refine your contribution and grow stronger. The more you reinforce this belief, the more your brain primes you for success. Each time you remind yourself that you have something special to offer, you increase your mental resilience, your confidence, and your drive. Your brain begins to prioritize actions that align with your unique purpose, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces your belief in yourself and in your ability to make a difference. At a biological level, this also affects your emotional state. When you operate with a sense of purpose and belief in your contribution, your brain releases neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which enhance your mood, focus, and overall well-being. This biochemical shift not only makes you more motivated, but also improves your ability to handle stress and uncertainty. The sense of having a unique contribution gives you a sense of meaning, a deeper connection to your work and to the world. And as you continue to pursue that, you will find that the more you act in alignment with this belief, the more you cultivate opportunities and create a ripple effect of influence that extends far beyond what you could have imagined. When you tell yourself, "I will prioritize my physical and mental health," you are setting the foundation for everything else in your life to thrive. The mind and body are inextricably linked. They cannot function at their best when one is neglected. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, thinking that success or progress in other areas can make up for the lack of attention to your physical and mental well-being. But the reality is, if you neglect your health, everything else suffers. Your brain, your emotions, and your body need care, recovery, and energy to function optimally. The first thing to understand is that when you prioritize health, both physical and mental, you're essentially creating a more resilient foundation for yourself. When you take care of your body, you provide the fuel it needs to keep up with the demands of daily life. Exercise, proper nutrition, and sleep. These aren't just feel-good practices, they are essential for cognitive function, emotional regulation, and overall mental clarity. And the effects are immediate. Physical activity increases the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin, which improves mood, and dopamine, which boosts motivation. Sleep allows your brain to consolidate memories and repair neural connections. Nutrition provides the raw materials your brain needs to stay focused, sharp, and productive. But the benefits don't stop there. When you make mental health a priority, whether through mindfulness, meditation, or simply taking time to relax, you regulate the stress response, which has a direct impact on how well you can handle challenges. Chronic stress floods your body with cortisol, which over time can impair memory, decision-making, and emotional control. By consciously engaging in practices that help manage stress, you're actively protecting your brain's ability to function at its best. And when your brain is healthy, everything else follows. Furthermore, when you take care of your health, you signal to yourself that you are worthy of the energy it takes to maintain well-being. This act of self-care fosters a mindset of self-respect and self-love, which is vital for maintaining long-term resilience. You begin to see health as a non-negotiable part of your daily routine, not just as something you do when things get tough, but as something that empowers you to take on whatever comes your way with strength, clarity, and focus. From a neurological perspective, when you engage in regular exercise or stress management techniques like deep breathing, you're actually training your brain to become more adaptable. Your brain's plasticity improves, and you become better equipped to handle challenges. You also strengthen your decision-making abilities because you've primed your brain to operate in a calmer, more balanced state. This doesn't mean that you're immune to stress or difficulty, but it does mean that you'll be able to face those moments with a greater sense of control and mental resilience. The commitment to your health sends a powerful message to your brain that you are worthy of feeling good, of performing at your best, and of living at your highest potential. It's not just about adding years to your life, it's about adding vitality to your days. Each time you choose to prioritize your physical and mental health, you build a stronger, more capable version of yourself. And with that, you lay the groundwork for sustained success, happiness, and fulfillment across all areas of your life. When you tell yourself, "I will stay present and embrace the current moment," you're not just choosing to live in the here and now, you're aligning your brain with one of its most powerful tools for focus, productivity, and emotional well-being. The reality is, most of us spend a significant portion of our time either ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. This constant mental chatter, this push and pull between past regrets and future anxieties, can leave us feeling overwhelmed, scattered, and disconnected from the opportunities right in front of us. But here's the thing. When you train yourself to stay present, you activate the brain's natural ability to focus, to absorb information, and to make decisions with clarity. From a neurological standpoint, the brain operates most efficiently when it is focused on the present moment. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for higher cognitive functions like planning, decision-making, and self-regulation, is at its best when it's engaged in the here and now. This allows you to make clearer decisions, engage in deeper problem solving, and increase your ability to perform tasks efficiently. When you are fully present, your attention becomes laser-focused, and your brain's reward system, primarily driven by dopamine, kicks in, reinforcing the behavior of focus and clarity. Being present also helps to regulate your stress levels. When you focus on the current moment, you are less likely to spiral into feelings of anxiety about things that haven't happened yet or guilt over things that have already occurred. This creates a calm and balanced state, reducing the impact of stress hormones like cortisol on your system. This doesn't mean ignoring the future or the past, but it means understanding that right now, in this very moment, is where your power lies. You can only control what is happening right now, and by embracing this, you empower yourself to make the most of each opportunity, rather than losing mental energy on things beyond your control. There's a deeper benefit to being present. It opens up the capacity for mindfulness, which strengthens your emotional intelligence and self-awareness. When you are fully in the moment, you are more attuned to your thoughts and feelings, giving you the ability to respond rather than react to situations. This awareness allows you to better manage your emotions, to act with intention, and to develop more meaningful connections with others. It's easy to get caught up in autopilot mode, letting your mind drift away, but the practice of returning to the present moment, whether through simple breathing techniques or mindfulness exercises, is a way of reinforcing your control over your mental state. The more you practice staying present, the easier it becomes to filter out distractions and to remain focused on what truly matters. It strengthens your ability to engage with tasks, people, and your own goals without being overwhelmed by the noise of external expectations or internal worry. When you actively choose to stay present, you prime your brain to perform better, to stay calm, and to react to life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. This practice isn't about perfection, and it's certainly not about being in the moment 100% of the time. It's about making the decision to come back to the present when you notice yourself drifting, and to embrace the power of now as a way to optimize your mental capacity and emotional well-being. The more you tell yourself that you will stay present, the more you train your brain to operate in a way that maximizes clarity, focus, and fulfillment. And as you do, you'll find that life begins to feel richer, more vibrant, and more manageable, because you've tapped into one of the most transformative powers available to you, the ability to be fully alive in the moment.